honey baked ham. There's this older lady working at the counter, and y'all don't laugh at me. She was working, well, actually, working at the counter. She was working making the sandwich, and I ordered a sandwich, and I'm plain, and so she had like this little funny attitude about my plain sandwich, and so every time she put something on the sandwich, because I really didn't want nothing on it, she would look at me. She would put something else. She would look at me. So when I go to get the sandwich, right, she looks at me. She say, "Honey, have you ever been waxed?" I was like, "No." And she said, "'Cause I sure want to take that mustache off your face."
Wow.
I took it off because of her. It's gone. So there were people in there. They kind of looked like, did she just say that out loud? So we all have encountered those older women who say whatever they want. And sometimes what you want to say probably shouldn't be said or shouldn't be said like that. Cause then she tried to give me her card so that she actually does like waxing and stuff.
Oh,
But the way she did it was
that's
very harmful
hilarious.
to my self-esteem.
Wow, because it's so funny, but remember, we do feel that as we get older, we have the right to say what we want to say, how we want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's some of it is we feel like we've taken enough punches from in life that we can punch back if we want to,
Mm-hmm.
or if we feel like we're actually being helpful. I don't know, but like my maternal mother was one of those women who just said what was on her mind, and she didn't give a second thought to how it made anybody feel. It's just her truth. And it just, she just said it. And I'm becoming more like that though. But I think I try to be more considerate as far as people's self-esteem. But I find that it's harder and harder for me to not say exactly what I feel and what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be, I hope I don't become like maternal grandmother in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But you just kind of, I think the older you get, you feel that you've paid enough dues to speak your truth at all times.
So there's a sense of freedom.
There
And
it
it's
is.
likely, I'm
Yes.
guessing, because you don't feel like you have to prove yourself anymore.
No, you don't. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody anymore. It's really just about, it is about being free. It's about being empowered. It's liberating, it's liberating to just tell the truth all the time. And some people call it brutal truth. It doesn't have to be brutal truth, but it can be absolute truth, but said in a soft way. Because I think as we're getting older too, a lot of us, the Generation X women, we're finding that we want to live softer lives and be softer people.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of tough because we've been adulting, a lot of us, on our own. Even in marriages, we've been adulting and depending on ourselves for so long that the transition to being softer women, softer people, there's kind of no way to really define what that looks like or feels like. But I think kind of letting your shoulders down and just kind of letting some of the weight of what you've experienced fall. I think that's a key to it. And telling your truth is key to it too, because if you don't let it out, you can only hold it in. And if you hold it in, it's going to weigh on you somehow.
Yeah.
So
I love that. All right. Miss Grace Williams says, I love you both. Thank you.
I love you, Grace. love Grace.
Veronica, my mom and my aunts, I had such an admiration for how each carried themselves and just the life lessons. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. There's so many life lessons we could discuss.
There are. So let's talk about this. You start talking about in relationships and being softer, right?
Yeah.
So I'm of a certain age, right? I'm not at the 5'4". I'm of a certain age, right? And I feel like the older I get, the less patience I may have for certain stuff, especially when it comes to dating. In the new way, when we talk about the new way to age, Dating for my parents and the generation before was much different than it is now. So what does this new age of dating look like?
And especially for us more experienced gals, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm going to tell you my secret to enjoying being unmarried, being single, and dating. And that is, for me, I've always enjoyed male friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, for me, being in the presence of guys, of just the way men think, it's always just been easier for me for a number of reasons, right? So I approach dating as new friendships, and we'll see where it goes based on what you show me. Two things. Don't force anything. Don't pry, don't poke, don't force. Let them show you. Give them the freedom to show you who they are, what their intentions are, what they prefer, right? And you're just watching. You enjoying the company, hanging out, playing golf, whatever you're doing, but you're enjoying it, right? Another thing is that the friendship, if you do want to get into a relationship with someone, you want that friendship to be the core of it anyway, right? The basis of it. So if you develop that friendship going in, then you really haven't lost anything if a romance doesn't develop or doesn't work out, right? Because a friendship is way more valuable and way more enjoyable sometimes than a romantic relationship, depending on where you are as far as how you've healed and how you've learned to be in a romantic relationship. Most of us ain't great at it. I mean, it's too tough nowadays. I think as far as our gender roles, it's tough being a woman and being an adult and not being too independent for a traditional man. It's tough for a man to be who he is and expect to be a provider, and it's tough for anybody to be a provider these days. But we're still judging men, or we're still kind of valuing men based on what they bring to the table financially. It's a very unfair dating environment we're in right now. Very unfair for both. I would just say you just go in it without expectations. You go in it looking for friendship. And then if the chemistry lends to it growing into something else, then, you don't push back, you let it happen if it feels safe. So that's all the advice I can give on that. But I enjoy it. I have fun.
You have fun.
I do.
No, but you hit on something, right? And I don't go too far down the line on this because I feel like it gets very polarizing when you start talking about dating. But definitely with the new age woman being almost hyper independent, right? And it's almost like, okay, well, you can be here, you can't type of thing. I don't know if society has adjusted to the new age woman.
I think there's this constant pushback. It's almost like, I'm going to compare it to another ism.
Okay.
Here, racism. It's like, I thought when I was young, I thought that by the time I was at this age, the old racists would have been 6 feet under by now. And we'd be looking at this new, diverse